Hi viewers, thank you for joining me on live today. We are going to talk about how to prepare for exams in 30 days. Exam season is coming up, and if we want if you want our children to succeed, yes, we have to score. Though my motto is to prepare kids for life, not just exams, but exams is still part of a student's life, and therefore it is very important that we prepare our children for exams, right? Okay, give me a second, please. Okay, okay. So I'm going to share few tips. Before I can share few tips, I want to set the context. Okay, the two types of learning that we can do when we go to school or college or anything learning, right? One is for the sake of learning itself. That means, irrespective of whether I'm appearing for exam, or whether I'm doing well or not, or anything like that, I'm studying for the sake of learning itself. And the other one is sake of getting marks or scoring well in exam. Many parents can get confused, saying that no, we want to learn for learning also, and I want my child to get score also. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay to have both the objectives, but understand that when you are just 1 month away from exam, and if your child is not prepared, and if you're scared that the child is not prepared or anything like that, and you are taking steps to make the child prepare for exam, that means I'm sure you will come under the context of studying for the sake of marks. Because if a person is studying for the sake of learning, they would be learning throughout the year. Because learning for the sake of learning cannot happen within 30 days. That's not possible. So here I'm talking about learning for the sake of appearing in exam, doing well, and getting marks. This I'm telling bluntly because that is a fact. To master something, you need that much time and effort. And having just 30 days, I will never say, I will never promise the child is going to remember whatever the child learned throughout the life. And that's the same case with me also. Like when I was studying, there was there were some subjects which I was learning for the sake of learning, and you ask me those things even now, years after learning, I can remember. I can tell all those things. But that's not the case with all the subjects that I learned. Some subjects I learned just for the sake of getting marks, though I did not have much interest, nor did I put effort. But I studied before the exam and I got good marks and became a topper and all. So if you are having if you are having this kind of objective at preparing your child for exam, for getting good marks, then all, I'm not saying it's a wrong thing, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, because they have to progress for the next level. But that's not the best thing. Best thing is learning for the sake of learning. But let us have at least a good result instead of the best. So here we are to discuss few tips about how to prepare for exam within 30 days. So the first thing that you have to do, or the child has to do, is decide for how much marks you want to get. This might seem very illogical. My child is not studied only, then what I can talk about how much marks? But yes, see, how our mind works is, our mind needs a goal, then only it will start working. If your mind doesn't have a goal, it doesn't know, it cannot focus also. So now today I don't have much time to explain you why I'm telling certain things. But if you do the exact what I tell you, then your child can prepare for exam within 30 days for sure. So in the live, let me not waste a lot of time by explaining why and everything. I know what I'm talking about. I have tried it in my life, and later on I figured out using some books called like this psycho cybernetics and all. Okay, how the mind works you know, based on that I am telling. Finally it is the mind which has to learn, right? So based on all of that I'm telling. So first decide how much marks you want your child to achieve. If it is 80, okay, 80, 90, 90, whatever. So decide for how much marks you want to prepare your child for. Then let it be a lower grade exam or a higher grade child, whatever. They will have this previous question papers, right? Previous question papers of previous test or previous exam or a seniors question paper, or the teacher themselves they'll give sample question papers and all, right? Now, from that, you take and see for that 80 marks, which all chapters need to be learned. Now, if you're aiming for 80 marks, you have to study for 90 marks. Means basically from this chapter, this much marks. From this chapter, this much marks is coming, right? So that you have to figure out. That you have to figure out. So that you remove the burden of studying for that extra 10 marks, right? Because the time is limited, you have to set a goal. You can get 90 marks also, but you have to study for 100 marks then. So if you're studying for 90 marks, and if you follow all the steps that I've told you, you can surely get 75 to 80%, surely you can get. But you have to decide, right? You have to decide for how much marks you want to study. Based on that, you will have to figure out which chapters you can eliminate, not study. Why? Because as soon as our mind, again, though my habit is to tell why and all, I'll restrict myself. Our mind and will start working or will start liking when we are saying we are going to give you less burden, right? I'm going to give you less burden. If you tell that by my mind is like happy. Good, good. I will support you. I will focus. I will study. That's the way mind works. So if you're aiming for 80 marks, find out what all chapters are required for 90 marks, and eliminate, forget about studying for the remaining 10 marks. That's the first step. Then the next step is to study the study for that those marks, right? But don't study the textbook first. Don't study the textbook first. Study the question paper. Study the question paper, or study the questions that is there behind the chapter, the textbook, or whatever your teacher says, right? Whatever. Why? Because studying the questions is very important. Again, from this book only, Psycho-Cybernetics says we all have something called a success mechanism. Success mechanism means when we know what we are searching for, our brain starts to work effectively, efficiently. So, when you're studying for exam and you have very less time, don't study the textbook first or the chapter or the answer. Study the question paper. Why? Because when your mind knows what it is searching for, okay, what happens first? You study the question paper. Study means what? Read the question paper several times. So by that time, mind will know what all questions are being asked. What all questions are being asked? What all kinds of questions are there? Okay, what all kinds of questions are there? That mind will know. Now, next, study the textbook. You might not be focusing, but because you study the questions, it's like when you're reading the textbook or when you're reading the notes, your brain, this was what was asked. This was what was asked. Okay, I have to answer this. My question is nothing but, and answer is nothing but a key. The other way of saying is question and answer both are actually one. Question is part of the answer, answer is part of the question. That means what? If you know the question itself properly, that means you know half of the answer already, half of the entire solution already. So, knowing the question is very important. So, read the question several times, then read the textbook, then your mind, your brain knows to capture that point. When you just study a text or something, you're just studying. Your brain doesn't know that it has to capture and store it. But when you read the questions and then read the text, your brain knows, oh, yeah, yeah, this question is there. I have to capture this. Your focus and concentration, everything will improve. All what I'm saying is all unconventional methodologies. But according to the literature about the mind, it surely work. It will surely work. So the first step is to decide how much marks you want to study for, how much marks you want to get. Mind requires a goal. Then if you want 90 marks, you want 80 marks. If you want 80 marks only, you have to study for extra 10 marks because the possibility of going wrong is there always. So if you want 80 marks, study for 90 marks. So you have to increase like that and study. The second step is to study the question paper first, questions first, and then studying the answers. Studying the questions, all the questions first. Say for example, that chapter, all the questions you study. Then you go and study that's the second step. Then the third step is studying according to a learning style. Learning style means you will know by now, or if you don't know, you can figure it out. There are many websites where you can figure out what is your learning style, what is your child's learning style. Some children learn using just by seeing, some children learn by listening, some children learn by doing. What kind of a learner is your child? Figure that out. Or just by knowing your child's nature also you can figure it out, right? Now, if a child is a person who will listen and learn, auditory learner, then what you should do, the effective way to make them learn is by recording things. Not by you ask your child, no, no, write your answer 3 times, then you will remember for exam. No, the child will not remember. The child cannot, doesn't have that much time also. But if your child is a kinesthetic learner, that means a person who does things and learns, for that person, for that child, they have to write and learn. They will have a lot of muscle memory. If the many times they write, their hand muscles will remember the answers. Yes, that's the way it is. For children who listen and learn, for them, you make them write and learn, they will not learn. They cannot learn effectively. So, learning according to learning style is very important. If you are a visual learner, okay, if you are a person who sees and learns better, you have to keep looking at your textbook, keep looking at your sentences in the thing, put your finger on the thing and keep seeing it more. If you're an auditory learner, take out the textbook, take out the thing and read it out, either you only or somebody else. If the child itself reads out, that's best. Read out and record using a mobile phone. Record it and then make the child listen to the recording many times. The child would have learnt it very effectively, very quickly, very fast. Okay, that's the second thing. That's a third thing, right? Then the fourth thing is writing the exam several times. Means what? See, children will have learnt everything, but finally when they go to exam, they don't write. Many times I've seen this problem surfacing from children's behavior from parents. I get this. Now, finally, see, whenever you have to do something, let's say chess competition. How do you prepare for chess competition? You play chess. How do you prepare for a dance competition? You dance more. How do you prepare for a singing competition? By singing more. Then how do you prepare for exam? By writing exams more. Okay. Now, I don't. How do I keep writing for exams? So we have 30 days, right? We have 30 days. In that, every 4 days once, make your child learn. Make your child write the exam. You have many different question papers, no? Question papers are there. So you have to start writing exam. The first thing you have to do is First, the day you're starting today means 1 month is there. I have to start my preparation for the child for the exam. Means today you have to write the exam. Today the child has to write the exam. You might say, my child is not at all prepared. What my child will write in the exam? What my child write in the test in the house also? You have to write. The child has to write. Why? Because when they write that, they will know what all they don't know. The mind needs to know what all it doesn't know. That's the first thing. Then the second thing is every 4 days or every 5 days, you make the child write the exam. Then they get into the habit of writing. They feel that environment. Everything is there. Like everything, like the environment is there. So when they write the exam also, it becomes a habituated environment, habituated situation. So many a times when parents say that they have not, my child has learned everything by during the exam, they do forget. Why? Because it is not the child has forgotten or anything like that. No, it is because the change in the environment, the change in the surroundings. Every time in the classroom, the classroom is very noisy. The teacher is there. Everybody is sitting close by. Now suddenly exam is there. Everybody is quiet. Teacher is not there. They're not teaching anything. Everybody is sitting far away. It feels very awkward, very unrealistic, unnatural for the child. So the brain will take a lot of time to get used to that environment itself. And the child would not have been writing continuously for that long. All this makes it a very unnatural experience. The child has to get used to that, then they have to write. Many children who are like toppers and all, they have gotten used to it, right? They've gotten used to it. They have started feeling comfortable in that situation, and they quickly become comfortable and they start writing. But every child cannot do that. So you have to make a child write the exam just like a similar exam environment. You have to make the child write the exam even the day you're starting the preparation, that day also, after 5 days, after 5 days, after 5 days. You might say, first of all, there's no time to study. Where is the time to make the child write the exam? But I tell you, you make the child study, right? Huh. Hi, Madhusudan, Madhava. Um, you make the child study, but then finally the child goes there and is not able to write an exam. What is the use of making the child study for so many years, so many months, so many days together? Finally the objective will not be met, no? So don't think the time will get wasted by writing the exam several times. You're making your child get habituated to the situation. That is very, very important. Because when they get habituated to the situation, then the brain is free from the tension, and the child maybe from whatever they've understood throughout the year, they might will come up with their own answers also, no? So for that possibility to happen, the child has to get accustomed to the exam environment. And if you see that that is the reason for before the board exams and all, there are many preparatory exams happening in schools because of this reason only. But for other grades, other standards, that is not there. So parents, we have to make them accustomed to that exam environment by making them write. That's the fourth step. Then the fifth step, right? The fifth step is memory techniques, right? In one of my future videos also, I will explain some memory techniques that the children can use to remember long answers. Like many answers, long answers are there, no? How to remember it very easily, very efficiently, very joyfully, fun way. How you can remember it. This can apply for any kind of learner, kinesthetic or auditory or visual learner. So some memory techniques I will be disclosing in my future live, so you can join those things. And then learn those techniques, which will help you to learn many long answers in social studies or science or even language, right? When you have to write essays in language, for all those things, you can use this technique. Use these techniques. Many techniques are there, right? Then, the final thing that I want to disclose here is about the formulas, right? How to remember formulas. Now, there are two kinds of things majorly formulas means. One is the math formulas or it is the science, chemistry formulas, right? These are the only two kinds of formulas are there that we have to remember. My motto is for mathematics especially is don't remember formulas, make your own formula. What do I mean by it? Now, now at this juncture, if you say that I'm going to make my child learn the formulas by head, then they will become lot tensed. They will become tensed because first of all, exam fear, exam tension is there, and during that time, again as per this book, when you are in a tense situation, your memory will not work. Memory will work less compared to your logic. Your logic will work better than memory. Have you encountered the situation where some sudden thing happened, some accident, something happened, and you forgot everything? Like you forgot your maybe your phone number of some close relative or something. You forgot. You're not able to do remember. Have you encountered the situation, parents? If you have encountered, you'll understand that in tension, we don't remember things, but in tension, our logic will work. Our logic means what we have already, um, okay, whatever your doubt is there, you can put it in chat. Whatever your doubt is there, you can put it in chat. I will try to answer today itself or in my subsequent lives tomorrow, day after tomorrow, whatever. I will answer that. Okay, Madhusudan? So our logic will work. So how to remember formula means for anything there'll be a root how it started, like formula derivation will be there, no, that will be there to make your child learn the formula derivation. Let's say a formula for surface area of a cylinder. Okay. Okay. Now surface area means what? Surface area means what is there, like this place, right? This place and this place, this place. If it's a cylinder, right? What happens? Surface area means everything around, top here and bottom here. So this everything around. How that formula comes? We open it. When we open this part, you get a rectangle. The top part, you open it, it becomes a square, a circle. Circle. This top and bottom part becomes a circle. So for a circle, the area is pi r square. Even that area of a circle also, how it comes also, maybe you can derive. So basically, how that formula comes, that the child has to learn. Then even in the tension, even in the tension, they can figure out, they can find out using the same derivation method. Because how many things can you remember? How many things can you remember? Even my memory techniques that I'm going to share in the future, I'm not going to tell how many like you have to remember many things. Out of those things, we're going to take some key words and remember. That's the technique we're going to do. Because we can do efficiently, we can use memory efficiently, true, but we cannot overuse it. Overuse it, and in a tense situation, you cannot use it. So, derivation of formulas. Now, coming to chemistry formulas. Okay. Now, coming to chemistry formulas. For that, you can use mnemonics, some techniques you can use. That also I will share in my further lives because all the things today in the same day, you'll become confused. So the thing is, you have to learn memory techniques. So what happens? We ask our children to learn, study, 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 without enabling them or giving them the knowledge of memory techniques or anything like that. We don't give them, and we just expect them to come up with their own methods to remember. That's not possible. That's not possible uh, for them immediately. Yeah, some children, they make up their own methodologies, right? If there is something like that, they will make up their own images, pictures. They make up starting letters. Now they'll join and make it mnemonic. They make it short forms. They make it, or they sometimes they make it. They connect it with the smell. One of my students was telling me that using your smell also you can remember. So when you want to remember certain thing, mark it with a certain scented pen, and then you smell the scent and you see the words. Then later on, when you smell the scent, you will get the words also. It seems. So those things will happen. So such different memory techniques are there. But I'm going to show you very simple where you don't require all the scented pens and everything. I'm going to show you about those things also in the future, in the next subsequent lives. So basically, so use memory techniques to remember formulas. And if it is math formulas, don't try to remember the formulas. Just learn the derivation. Okay. Okay. Okay, Hrishikesh. If you have a doubt, what doubt you have, you can ask me. In mathematics, whatever doubt you have, I can resolve it. Whatever doubt you have, what doubt, what topic you have doubt, what chapter name you have doubt. Let me know. Yeah, what chapter name, if you tell me, in tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I can explain the entire chapter with you by showing everything. Okay, so now I have explained to you all these steps. Let me recap all the steps here. So first, you decide how much marks you want to score. Based on that, decide which all chapters you need to study. Rest chapters you remove. If you are planning to get 80 marks, study for little extra marks because there is a possibility of going wrong in the exam. So study for, if you are planning for getting 80 marks, study for 90 marks. Then the second thing is study the question paper or questions that is there behind the textbook, behind the chapter. Study the questions first and then study the chapter. But if you're studying for the learning purpose itself, that's not the way to learn. But if you're learning for the exam sake, that's the way to learn. Because our mind picks up the question and picks up the answer and connects it. So study the question before the questions first. Okay. And the third thing is learn according to your learning style. If you're a person who doesn't learn, write it many times or put it on flashcards and do. If you are a visual learner, you have to see videos, see textbooks, read, see the letters, see the words, spellings also. Keep seeing it. Your mind can remember the entire thing, the spelling it can remember. If you are an auditory learner, take out a thing and record it and listen, keep listening to it many times. Even if it is spellings, hard spellings, many times just record it and keep listening to it often. You will get that spelling also. So learn according to your learning style. That's the third one. Then the fourth one is write the exam itself several times. Several times means up to you. If you wanted to write it just 3 times in this 30 days, you can write it. Or if you want to write it 5 days once, 5 days once, means keep writing the exam. Especially the subjects that you are very tensed about, that exam you have to start writing today itself. If you're feeling that you've not learned on anything, that's okay. You're writing in the home, no, it's okay. And your mind will know what all you have not learned. Next time you open the textbook, oh, that was there in that question paper. I was not able to answer. Okay, let me study. You will be able to study. Okay, the child will be able to study. So that is the way. Write the exam several times to get used to the exam environment as well. Then the next thing is memory techniques. So there are some memory techniques called ridiculous association techniques and techniques to remember numbers and all those things that I'll be sharing in the subsequent videos. Please do watch my live that will happen every day at 7:30 for a month starting today. Then the last one is formulas. For mathematics, don't try to remember formulas. Try to learn where this formula came from, where how it started, the derivation of the formula. If it is chemistry formulas, then there is other techniques called the memory techniques, where you can do mnemonics, or you can do visual memory techniques and those things. That I'll be discussing again in the subsequent videos, right? So while I'm this live, let me also tell you that if you're studying like this, there is one warning that I have to want to give you all. The thing is, after you're writing your exam, you will forget everything. After writing your exam, you will forget the things that you have done, learned in this fast track process, whatever you have learned, you will forget. That's a warning I can give you. But that is a fact also. If I'm not telling you that fact, then I will not be truthful to you. You will forget. Just like now, you ask me anything from history and all, I won't remember because I didn't study that subject for the sake of learning. I studied it for the sake of getting marks because I have to pass all the subjects when I was going to school, right? But if you ask me something in English grammar, or if you ask me something in mathematics or science, I won't forget them. I can answer them even now. That's because I learned it for the sake of learning. And that kind of learning, if it has to happen, then you should have studied throughout the year. Okay. Okay. Madhusudan, March 8th is my exam. Okay, Madhusudan, March 8th is your exam. You're weak. But I asked you, what is it that which topic are you having trouble with? Until unless you tell me the topic and you tell me your standard and anything, I won't be able to help you. And next thing, final thing, I want to close my life with this thing that by worrying, no, exam is there, tension is there, I am weak in math, I am weak in math. By telling this several times, you are not helping yourself. Nobody is weak in math. You know that? Nobody is weak in math. There is a mathematician in every one of us. Every one of us, there is a mathematician. By being afraid, we are telling that mathematician inside us to keep quiet. Hey, you don't know, yeah, you keep quiet. This math is very difficult. Inside your mind, several times you would have felt this. I think this is the way to do it. But immediately, within that next moment, we were told, hey, keep quiet, yeah. We would have told ourselves, the mathematician inside us, we would have told, keep quiet, yeah. This is not like this. You are weak in math. You don't know anything. This math is very difficult. We would have talked to ourselves like that many times. Because of that, we have not realized, we have not understood that there is a mathematician inside us. That is a real fact. There is a mathematician inside you, and you have unique potential. You have infinite potential within you. Every one of your child has this infinite potential. No child is weak in anything. Anything, not only mathematics. No child is weak in anything. What is lacking is what they believe about themselves. That is what's the important factor that is stopping them from really becoming successful. So, Madhusudan, because you have not given me any hint about what is your difficulty, I will not be able to help you here, but leave a message in my YouTube channel. Then I can guide you, of course. But one thing I'll tell you, the many times that you are telling, see, within the chat itself, twice you told me that I am weak in math. You are not weak in math. You have not worked on your math. That's all. You have not worked on your math. You're not weak in math. A person who can think can do mathematics. If you can think, don't you think you can think? You have joined live, you have put comments also. All this you have done. That means you know to think. Mathematics is thinking. Mathematics is thinking. That's what I explain in my book. This is my book, which I published called Maths to the Power of Mind Equals Money. In this book, that's what I say. There is a mathematician in you, right? Let me show you the chapter, right? There is a mathematician in you. This chapter says, There is a mathematician in you. So so don't think that you are weak in math. You have not just worked on math, you have not learned math in a certain way, that's all. Okay, stop saying to yourself that I'm weak in math. That's the first thing that you have to do. Then next thing is message me what is the topic that you want more understanding in. I will explain to you in a very fun way. You'll be able to understand and you just work on your math. You can do. Okay, with that, I close my live. Thank you for joining me. Join me tomorrow as well at 7:30 p.m. I'm there to explain some math concepts and some memory techniques, all these things to prepare you for exams. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye.